Hi everyone, we are back on this Monday evening with a fresh edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. We're going to get into a detailed discussion here of our short-term weather, some longer range trends, and I'll talk a little bit more about the upcoming winter forecast, which I'll be doing right here on Thursday. We'll have it on TV, but a much longer version will be posted in this same place that you're watching this video Thursday evening. So look forward to that in a few days. In the meantime, it was a pretty mild day today, and this was despite a lack of sunshine. We had clouds most of the day. We hit 60 this afternoon after starting at 47 this morning, a few hundredths of an inch in the rain gauge at the Youngstown Warren Airport, but generally rainfall amounts at the start of the day today, yeah, pretty light. Not much going on Storm Tracker radar this evening. We do have a good wall of water off to our west, though. This is what's heading our way later on tonight. It's raining at a pretty good clip right now in places such as Indianapolis and Louisville, heading down towards the boot heel of Missouri. Yeah, all that's tracking our way later on tonight. I'll show you the future radar in a second. A severe weather threat continues on the tail end of this front down in parts of the lower Mississippi Valley from Louisiana up into parts of southern Arkansas and western Mississippi as well. Not much more than a sprinkle out there this evening, and the more substantial rain is going to take several hours to get here, but it will get here, and it'll be raining at a pretty good clip, I think, as we go into the wee hours of Tuesday morning. We're talking 2:30, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I think you're going to be hearing the pitter-patter of raindrops pretty loudly on your windows and roof for a time. Then the rain will taper off as we go towards daybreak, and I think in most spots the steady rain is about out of here by about 8 o'clock or 8:30 or so. As far as rainfall totals tonight, our computer models are in pretty decent agreement here. Generally, maybe 0.6 to 0.8 as far as a good average. The NAM is way down here. That's kind of an outlier. So we can expect, I think, at least a half an inch, but I think a good average will be about 0.6 to 0.7 inches worth of rain overnight tonight. Not what most of us want. It's been a wet fall, and a lot of us, want to get that last mow in or start raking, and it's just so wet in our yards that it's not a great time to be out there doing yard work when things are so kind of goopy and muddy. But in the meantime, our foliage season has progressed to where we're at pretty much peak color at this point, but not for much longer. I suspect as we go through the next 24 hours, with the wind starting to really kick up, a lot of these trees are going to be shedding their leaves if they have not done so already. So we lose the steady rain early in the day. The rest of tomorrow, rain's not the story. I mean, there might be a sprinkle or a shower in spots. The rain will not be a big deal for Election Day once we're past, say, 8 to 9 a.m. We might even see some peaks of sun before the afternoon is through, so our hourly rain chances look like this, decreasing rapidly as we go through the morning, and I don't think there's much at all in the afternoon aside from a quick shower or a sprinkle in a couple of spots. By far and away, the bigger story is going to be the wind. As early as mid-morning, I think the wind is going to become very noticeable, with some gusts, I think, that could top out around 40, perhaps even 45 miles per hour. Now, of course, with the wet soil, these types of wind gusts could lead to more trees trying to come down than there would be if the soil was not as wet as it is. So power outages will be a concern on Election Day in some places. I don't think it's necessarily a widespread issue, but I think it is an elevated concern for Tuesday. Some power issues as a result of perhaps some compromised trees coming down on power lines. So the wind is a story tomorrow. Once we're done with tomorrow and past Election Day, a much nicer day coming up on Wednesday. We'll see a good deal of sun. It'll still be breezy, but not nearly as windy as tomorrow. Clouds will then increase on Thursday. I wanted to talk about Friday and the weekend because for much of northeast Ohio and western PA, some of the first snowflakes of the season will be seen, and perhaps seeing the first accumulating snow for some as we go into Friday night and Saturday morning. It'll be rain showers during the day Friday, just a nasty day Friday. This will be a windy day at times, and we'll see a chilly rain from time to time. As the colder air wraps in Friday night, we're going to start getting into a lake-enhanced and lake-effect snow regime, I think, here. Overnight Friday night, heading into Saturday morning. And while in most spots I don't think the snow is a big deal, once you're up into the primary snow belt, and especially into northwest PA and eventually into southwest New York, I could see where there's some accumulation that comes out of this into Saturday morning. So, a place like Erie and maybe over towards Bradford, PA, and up towards Jamestown, New York, and perhaps even parts of Ashtabula County. Does someone get a few inches out of this? I can't rule that out. Again, that'll be Friday night into early Saturday morning. Rest of the weekend looks pretty chilly, but pretty uneventful. Next front will probably arrive late on Sunday and into Sunday night. This is an impressive pattern as we head into next week. This is a pattern that's going to feature a big dip in the jet stream. We get progressively colder late this weekend of the weekend, But this up here is a little piece of, yes, the polar vortex coming south, and it will help to drive the coldest air of the season southward next week. Again, the maps here are pretty impressive. You can trace our air mass middle of next week by tracing these lines all the way up here, and this is a direct injection from the Arctic regions, and we're going to see temperatures, I think, for at least a few days struggle to get above freezing. Mid-30s maybe at best, but yeah, again, coldest air of the season so far coming our way next week. So it's a lead pipe cinch here that we're going to be colder than average for a time in the 6 to 10 day period here, which encompasses late in the weekend and early next week. All right, we're a few days away from our annual winter forecast. We'll have the short version on 21 News at 6 and 11. That'll be the 2.5 to 3 minute version. For a much more detailed version, a lot of the why is the forecast the way it is, some of the meteorology behind it, the methodology, you'll want to check out that longer video on WFMJ.com, the Storm Tracker 21 app, right here on Facebook and Twitter, my YouTube channel as well. We'll post that much more detailed version early Thursday evening after the 6 o'clock news. And you'll just get a lot more detail in that version, not only what the forecast is, but why the forecast is what it is. I wanted to spend just a second reviewing last winter before we get on to the forecast later this week. At the Youngstown Warren Airport last winter, we picked up 81 inches of snow, about almost 20 inches more than average. Temperature-wise, a little bit of a strange winter last winter. We ended up a degree above average. That may surprise you because it seemed like kind of a cold winter, right? Well, December was cold. January was pretty cold compared to average, especially the first half of January. And then for a 10-day to 2-week stretch in February, it got remarkably warm for the second consecutive year. And then March was cold again. March of 2018 was colder than February this year. And the same thing happened in 2017. We've had 2 straight years where March has been colder than February. So those were the numbers last year. How will this year compare? We are 3 days away from my annual winter forecast, which will include how much snow to expect compared to average and what kind of temperatures broken down into months you can expect. So we'll look at December, we'll look at January, we'll look at February, and I think there will be distinct differences between those 3 months this winter. One of those months, I think, is going to be a pretty severely cold month. So it's a little bit of a hint as to what I'll be talking about on Thursday. That's it for tonight's weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks as always for watching, everyone.